Hello there, it's Pauline Crawford, and I am known as the ambassador of magical conversations. And I've been studying how men and women relate to each other. And today I have Fiona Eckersley, who is in America, as I am, but is originally from Great Britain, where I'm from. So hopefully our language patterns will be alike today, Fiona. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you, Pauline. Lovely to see you.
That's great. Now, Fiona is a confidence coach, an author, and a divorce recovery coach. So, in my quest to understand how women see men, how do you think men are feeling today, maybe in the divorce recovery arena?
I think that a lot of men, if you were to speak to them, feel that the divorce process is very biased towards women. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm saying that's maybe how they feel. Because in the majority of cases, not all of them, I've had clients who have to pay alimony out to their husbands, but in the majority of cases, the women are receiving money from the ex-husband for either child support or because they've been married such a long time, or they were stay-at-home mothers, and so I think a lot of men, even though they know that this has been what's been going on in their marriage, they kind of resent the fact that they're still paying, as it were. Forgetting the fact that in my case, I was at home for 15 years with my children. So my career basically became non-existent, right? So my earning power disappeared, and I needed that. I had 4 kids, and I needed to look after them. So hence I was getting money. So I think that's, they feel it's unfair. There's that awful joke, right? If you just want to, don't bother getting married, just buy a house for some lady you don't like and give it to her. That's a horrible joke out there.
Yeah.
So I think they also feel, from the people I've spoken to, is that men are very sensitive. They feel like they're getting the sharp end of the stick, as they're the ones who are always to fault.
Okay. They're feeling resentful, and that they're at fault.
Yeah, exactly. They always feel like everybody thinks it must be the guy's fault. Like, what did he do? Like, I meet divorced men all the time. I'm not coaching them, but I meet them and I chat to them. And they're all very sensitive to make sure they tell you. It's like, oh, I didn't have an affair. Oh, I wasn't doing anything wrong. Because it's almost like they get nailed to the wall verbally every time they meet someone, because the assumption is, well, you divorced, you must have done something wrong. Whereas I think women tend to elicit more sympathy when they get divorced.
And how do women see men generally then, divorced or not divorced? Are we?
Well, I'd hate to be general as to how women see men, but the women that I work with, they, for the most part, they're very angry a lot.
Yeah.
And they're angry at the guys who've done whatever they have done, or they think they've done what they perceive to be done, because it's not always that they did something, right?
No.
But the truth of that is, when we get down to it, they're actually not angry at the guys, they're angry at themselves.
Yes.
It turns out. Because they feel like it was somehow their fault that they allowed themselves to be in this position, or that they put up with it for so long, or, they didn't defend themselves, or whatever it was. So it's kind of interesting. But in general, I find the longer out from the divorce, the more forgiving most women become. And they tend to realize that they're not all bad, right? Which is the case. There are nice guys out there. I'm willing to say that.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So do you see in your sojourns with your clients, the differences between men and women? What would you say is a primary difference between women and men in terms of these lack of conversations, or this misunderstanding or resentment aspect?
I just think that they have a different method of communicating. I think that a lot of the times the men, again, we're generalizing here pretty big, but in my clients' cases, the men tend to be more not necessarily controlling, but in control. Like they're doing the finance, they're doing, you know, whatever, or they maybe dismiss the opinions of their wives. But the thing is, instead of a lot of the women that I work with, their issues is that they don't speak up and say, hey, you know, I didn't really like you telling me that my opinion was no good, and, you know, and discussing it. They don't really do that. So it's a dynamic that just keeps going because he doesn't know he's done anything wrong. Right?
And that's a very interesting point, and I would concur with that in my experiences dealing with men and women, that men are often mystified at what appears to be what a woman is thinking, and they go, I don't know, I just don't understand her.
Right. And because she won't tell him what's wrong. But men do the same thing on the other hand.
Yeah.
You know, from what I've heard from all these people I talk to is, and in my own experience, is that some men, they just assume you're supposed to know, like, what you've done wrong, or what it is that's not working out. Like, how come she doesn't know that when she made a joke about me the other day, I didn't, and that was funny, that wasn't very nice, it hurt my feelings, but she should have known that. You know what I mean? And it's like, So basically it's a lack of communication, and they're both making assumptions, maybe for reasons. Yes. But I think that's the problem. That's the main difference between men and women, is they just, you know, the women want to help and to please in general. Not all women are like that. I don't want anybody writing and yelling at me, but in general, the women they want to do the best. They want to help. They don't understand. They don't want to cause conflict.
Yes.
They don't want
I would
to get
agree
angry with them. Right. Yeah. And so they will do whatever they can to try and make things better, but it's not really working because he's thinking different things like, well, why is she doing that? I don't know why she's doing that. That's weird. Right. So it's just, that seems to be the issue for me.
Yeah, because I think that's right. Men often are on topic and they're in a sort of quite a closed box. And so they get to the solution in their head sometimes and they think the woman should know that, but they don't actually say it. And
right.
they hear something a different way.
Right. It's almost like, I mean, it's a weird analogy, but like if you go shop, when I've been shopping with guys, right, he will go shopping because he needs a pair of shoes. He wants a brown pair of shoes with laces for a certain price, you know, and they're shiny, right? So they go to the store and that's what they want. You go shopping with them. What are you shopping for? I don't know. I'm just going to see, look, what if there is. I might get a pair of shoes. Oh, that's a nice jacket. And when I've been shopping with them, that has driven them crazy, right? Yes. Because that's the way they think is, you know, this is what I want. This is the goal that I'm going for right now. I'm very focused on getting that one thing. Yes. Whereas women tend to be more flexible and open and, hey, let's see what else is out there.
Well, as I describe it as women kind of work in an and men go very much, well, it's either or. Yeah, I want the shoes and there's nothing else. It's not sort of and I think that perpetuates into business as well. So in the business arena that I work in, men often agree with each other and it's very singular, and the woman comes into the workplace and starts going off in a selection tangent, and they go, no, we weren't talking about that. Does that make sense? You know, and I think so, because our life at work and our life in our life is connected. One of the things I always think is that women have brought life into business, whereas men just do business at business. Do you think do you agree with that?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think, they're very straightforward, and it's a very linear. It's almost like I was reading about different CEO styles, and there was men and women, but the two men I can remember, there's like Lee Iacocca, who was very closed-minded, and it was just everything was like, we're going to do this, and this. Yeah. And it kept working, and it would look good for him, so he just kept doing it until he ran the place. It started off really well, and then it just didn't, right? And then Jack Welch from GE, was more of that feminine type of thinking, where he was open-minded. He's like, oh, well, we should try this, or we should have everybody's opinion, and everybody's valuable, and let's let's really just be open-minded about how everything works. And that, I think that's the difference. I mean, I didn't use a woman in there, but
no,
I think
that is true. And I think that's, you know, the feminine energy, which you see in men sometimes, is also part of what we as women have as well. Some of us are more masculine minded, some of us are more feminine minded. And maybe we deal with divorce differently. I don't know. Would that be the case? That the kind of tougher woman who goes, oh, you know, she's still sad, but she goes, I'm getting out of here. Or the other.
I think I've definitely, I might be even one of those actually. But so the thing about that, the tougher woman, we were talking about stereotypes of women earlier, the tougher woman who is used to being the one who everybody comes to and everybody does everything. And this was me. It's like, I had this bombshell where after 22 years, I had no idea that there was anything wrong, and was announced one day, hey, I'm leaving you, right? With 4 youngish children. And, you know, it was devastating. But what do? I got up the next day. I carried on doing everything I had to do. I went through my life, and everybody kept saying to me, oh my God, how do you do that? You're like, this is amazing. I'd be like dead. But the thing is, what the truth of that is, the inside, you're not dealing with it that way at all. Right. You're
not showing it in the same way somebody else would. Right.
And so you're doing other things like, you know, overeating or drinking too much or shopping or whatever I chose to do, all of those probably. So that's one way of women deal. Another woman is the one who basically just takes to her bed and can't deal, right? Yes. At all, and just is a complete mess. And, you know, the kids have to get grandma around to take them to school and stuff. But I feel like men, even when they're really hurt, I feel like they may react like me, like they're just going to get through it, right? I don't really know necessarily what's going on inside because I'm not a guy, but it seems like they have a better capacity to compartmentalize everything that's going on. Yes. And so they go to work, and it may affect their work in some way, but for the most part, they're very focused. When they're at work, they're going to deal with that. And when they're at home, you know, they're going to deal with it there. But instead of going around to their friend's house and crying and going on, they're either going to go out and get another girlfriend straight away, or they're just going to go down the pub with their friends. And, you know, so I think they do have a completely different way of dealing with it.
Yeah, they do say in studies, and again, these things are always general, but that men are sort of fight and flight people. So they either fight or go off and get another woman, or they flight, or they run away into their cave. But the women tend and befriend. So the befriend ones, like maybe the masculine-minded woman, goes off and does lots of other things, and the tend one is needing that attention. She needs a duvet, and she needs a comfort.
Box of ice cream.
Lots of ice cream. So what advice could we give to men to understand women in the divorce situation, but also in any place where there's a disagreement or an argument?
Oh, I know exactly what I'm going to say. So I would say what men tend to do is, if you have a problem or you have something that's going on and you're just saying, you know, this is what I feel, this is what's happening with me, this is what I'm doing, their immediate reaction is to give you a long list of ways that you can fix it.
Yeah.
Right? Or that they can help you fix it. And sometimes we don't want that. I'm just telling you what the issue is. I don't want you to fix it for me. So I think that the best thing that men can do especially in a situation where somebody's had a traumatic situation like a divorce, or they're sad or anything, right, is just to actually listen and not say anything. Yes. Don't give advice. Just listen until she's finished and say, wow, I'm so sorry that's happening to you. And
I agree, and I totally concur with that, and I think it's advice I've often given to men. And I remember one man said, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll give that a go. How long do I have to listen?" So he actually wanted, and I mean that's very male as well. He was willing to do it for a win, but he needed to know exactly how long. And in a way, that's another bit of the understanding, is that I think men are quite instructional. If we're clear with them, and sometimes we have to say that, you know, I want to speak to you for 10 minutes and it's going to be about this. Is that okay? And then once they say, oh, okay, then they go into action mode based on an instruction.
I think you're right. That's interesting.
So what advice could we give women then to understand men?
Oh, I'd probably be married if I knew this. Let's see. I think that you should give them the benefit of the doubt sometimes. I think that sometimes they say stuff and it's very easy to take it the wrong way. And, you know, really just if you're in any way unsure of what it is they're trying to say to you, ask questions.
I like that.
Clarify.
Yes.
Because maybe you're just not understanding what they're trying to say to you.
Yes. I think you're right. And I think that I've observed that often women, and in the business environment as well, they kind of carry on talking based on the fact that, you know, if I talk long enough, they're going to get it. Actually, the less is more.
Right.
It's better if you stop talking and make a bullet point and then create that clarity, because men are looking for that. Do I have to do a solution here or do I have to listen?
Right.
And I would imagine also, obviously, the divorce situation is complex anyway, but listening and clarity is key. I often say in magical conversations, we got to be without judgment, anger, and coercion, which of course are all things that when you're in a dilemma like a sudden divorce, it comes up. And I too have been in a divorce situation. But I think it's exactly what you say, it's that listening and clarity. Now, I know you deal with women a lot and giving them confidence to get through these situations. Tell us a little bit about your book so that whoever's listening in here will know what that's about.
Okay. It's called Fearful to Fabulous, Unlock Your Power, Move On and Thrive After Midlife Divorce. And it's basically the 7 steps that I use with my clients initially to get them through that indecision period. Or like I spoke to a lady today who she said she knows what she needs to do. She's probably going to be okay, but she's not paying her bills because she can't face it. She's just sitting on the couch. Like that's what it's just the overwhelm. It's the overwhelm and the I have no idea what my future is going to be just shuts you down completely. So I work with them through these 7 steps just to get them to that place where they can feel stable and secure and they have control over what's going on in their life right now. And then they can start to look at what goals do I want to have?
Yeah.
Then when you've got your own self-worth and your own confidence going, then you're able to have a relationship with somebody else if you want one. Yeah. Right. That's what I do with them. And that's what the book is about.
That's great. And would this book be appropriate for men as well?
Actually, yeah. It's funny because I've been to a lot of networking events lately and the guys have been like, well, why don't you work with men? And I go, you know what? I don't know why I don't work with men. I totally can work with men. Yeah. And it will work for anybody. It's the usual stuff. It's recognizing your financial situation and dealing with it. It's not looking back on your past and thinking this is who you should be now. Why aren't I doing what I thought I was going to do? Instead, focusing on the here and now, setting goals. What else? I'm trying to put me on the spot. I can't think of them all now. Just reframing your emotions. There's a lot of anger in a divorce, and you need to reframe that and look at forgiveness and gratitude instead. What else did I say? Can't remember. It would definitely work for everybody. And not only that, it works for people who are not divorced. It works for people who are going through major life transitions.
Yes. Well, I'm thinking it would also work in a business environment, in the corporate environment, because I think there's a lot of not listening, and there's a lot of no clarity, and there's a lot of fear and concern about the marriage of men and women in a general sense in the boardroom, which is what I'm fascinated by. So I think all of that good advice will work for all of us, which is fantastic.
I think one of the things, that going back to what you were saying before, I was thinking, you know, the thing is, when we're listening to what other people are saying, we're playing it through the filter of our own judgment.
Yes.
Right. So they might be saying one thing and we're hearing something completely different, which is why it's really important to listen for that, to ask questions and get clarity. Yes. Because, you know, if you're, like you talked about boxes, but you could be in your box and they're in their box. Somehow you got to like make a little opening between those two boxes so that the communication comes.
Open the doors. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would totally work for business. And I think that it's a really important conversation to have. You know, the way that women and men communicate in business is, I think that people go in there, if they see a woman who's a tough woman in the boardroom, you know, guys tend to be like, ooh, she's going to be mean, right? Which is ridiculous, because she's just good at her job is the bottom line. Yes, but it's a stereotype that's put in there, and they don't know how to react. And the same way for women, they're assuming that the guy is looking at them going like, how'd she get here? Like, or what, you know, she's thinking, they're looking at her going, I hope she didn't get her job just because she's, you know, somebody's sister or something. You know what I mean? It's like and I'm sure they're not thinking that, but that's what you're thinking in your own mind, right?
That's right.
So that judgment of yourself, don't let it cloud what other people are thinking about you.
Absolutely. And I think you're full of amazing advice, Fiona, and I would encourage anybody to get in touch with you. Find out your book's on Amazon, is it?
It is on Amazon, yes. Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Or actually, you can download it for free at fearfultofabulousbook.com.
Fantastic. Well, that's excellent. I will go there and get my own download. Thank you so much for your time, Fiona. I think you're full of lots of very good wisdom and advice, not just for divorced people, but for all men and women. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Lovely.
Thank you.